Well, hi there and welcome back to Soul Island Awakening. I am Karin and I thought that I would talk about what is the Great Awakening today. And that is a huge subject and it's a very, very interesting one. And I think that if you've been on this journey for, I don't know, a couple of months or maybe a couple of years or longer, you have probably heard about the Great Awakening. So, where do we start with this? In my case, my journey, I came in contact with this term and this, I would say, event on this planet about 2 years ago, because I started my awakening journey very consciously at that point. And I think I will give some kind of background to this whole awakening kind of process that we are in right now, whether you're conscious of it or not. Right now, our planet is going through, a huge transformation. For many, many years, it has been vibrating in a certain frequency span. And now we are raising that frequency on this planet, the whole planet, to a higher frequency, which means that our energy fields are vibrating in higher frequencies. And if you have some kind of feeling, how do you say, what that means, it's like you can describe it as a consciousness expansion. Inside of ourselves, which is happening. It's also happening on this earth, the planet itself. So we are raising our frequencies, our vibration together with the planet. And so this has been prophesied like long time before. And I would say that Dolores Cannon was one of the ambassadors, authors that was leading the way in this knowledge in the 80s and educating us in all of this, what was going to happen right now. And this ascension path is something that is done, from what I understand, like it goes in somewhat 26,000 year cycles. So this is a huge thing that happens every 26,000 years approximately, and what we are doing right now, we are expanding our consciousness by raising our vibrations in our physical bodies. And that, from what I understand, is also quite unusual, that we are doing this process in our physical bodies. So, what happens when we're doing this kind of process? What is it all about? Well, when we are raising our frequencies, we are expanding our consciousness. We are able to perceive our reality differently. And we're also able to feel other emotions that we haven't felt before. We are able to get in contact with other kinds of skills or knowledge inside of us that we have not been in contact with before. And this is due to our DNA upgrades that we are getting from these all these high frequency energies that we are being processing all the time. These energies are coming from the sun, it is coming from our planet, and some are saying that we get help from other places as well. In other words, we are being, we are placed in the universe right now where there's a high frequency photon belt, which is also helping us during this time. So it's in the higher perspective or the all-around perspective, this is a very, very big process that we are in, and we are going through it as a collective, and we're going through it as individuals. And we are actually doing it in different paces, so that, you know, we are not at the same level at the same time in the collective. We are noticing that very drastically right now, because we have a lot of different opinions, different way of seeing things, and some people are not at all embracing what is happening, and then we have a lot of people that are. So there's a lot of different views at this moment, and that's where the Great Awakening comes in. And that's why I wanted to talk about the Great Awakening. Because as a result of our inner process, Ascension process, as we call it, we are going through an awakening. This whole consciousness expansion is the awakening. And then we have a lot of us that have been, you know, working with this for quite some time. And we're like, when are the other ones going to wake up? How long can it take? You know, and still we have just been maybe on this journey for a couple of years, whilst there's been a lot of people that's been on this journey for decades. And I feel sorry for them, actually, because I have no idea how I would have coped with that. Because, you know, these 2 years have been really difficult for us that have been trying to wake others up, and they don't understand at all what we're saying. Or there have been a few people that have been, you know, ready for this kind of information. Anyway, the Great Awakening is interpreted in many ways, from depending on what kind of perspective that you have, or especially the knowledge that you have. And I thought that I would share a few. So some of the people are discussing that this process is going to be a very long one, and it will continue going in this pace, which is, you know, it's speeded up, of course, but still we have a lot of, if you live in Scandinavia, it's moving very, very slowly. But in the other parts of the world, we have seen a lot of rapid movement in this process, which is awesome. And I congratulate you for having that experience and for doing that wonderful job. But then we have a few others of us, which include me, that I feel like I resonate a lot with the 17th letter of the alphabet's Intel. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might want to do some research about that. We have a military back channel that have been informing us about this whole process that we are going through right now. And according to that channel, we are going to have some kind of public event where we will be educated in a lot of things that we, from the perspective that we have today and the knowledge we have today, is about the awakening kind of subjects, and they will be presented to the public in a global event. And why does this resonate more with me? Well, I have been doing my research, and I have been listening to a lot of the decoders of this military back channel. And I also, you know, my interpretation of this whole kind of transformation that we're going through, and all of the new systems that we can expect going forward, transforming the old reality to the new reality, which will be a more authentic one, is that with my knowledge that comes to leadership and those kind of coaching and working with people, and I'm also a project manager, so I've been working with organizations and groups of people for many times or many years. It is very important that when you are going to lead a group, you need to have the same map going forward. You need to be able to see the same picture so that you can work together. Let's say that we did not have this great awakening taking place where all of people are going to be educated at the same time and gain some kind of, ground platform where we can start having conversations again. It will be very difficult to create that kind of powerful change, because if we have a large group that still have no idea what we are talking about, how are we going to coexist, to transform, to be able to change all the systems and all these, it's on everything, if we are two different, and we have two different views, very, very different views, and we have different values, and we have different, it would be very, very difficult. And that's why I am feeling that, it would be a long process anyway, whether we have this disclosure time or not, because it will take some time to adapt to the new information and to really cope with all of these, the things that have been going on that we have not been able to access or understand. I'm sorry, I have some allergies, that's why my eyes are reading. But, it's that time of the year in Sweden. The Great Awakening is, if you have not heard, or if this is the first time, you're like, but what do I need to wake up from? And that's a very good question. I would say there's a few layers to this, and there's a lot of layers, but where we are right now, the ones that have been working with this for quite some time, is that we've realized that we have our physical reality that we have been in for generations and generations is actually looking a bit different when it comes to the structures, the leaderships, the why things are looking the way they are, why we have the banking systems we have, why we have the control systems that we have, why we have the working hours that we have, and so on. That is one layer that you can wake up from and realize that, oh my God, this has been intentionally done to us to, control our everyday lives. That's the very, very short version of this. Then we have another layer, and that's where we understand that we have a spiritual side as well to this, that we are spiritual beings and living a human experience, and through that starting to understand other dimensions, that they exist and that they are intertwined with our physical reality. There's no separation between them. It's just that we haven't been able to see the threads in between before, but now we are able to connect those dots as well and see that the spiritual dimensions and our physical dimension is intertwined, and that they are just as real or present as our physical dimension. Which when you get a few, expand a bit more, you kind of realize that the spiritual dimension is more of a reality than our physical dimension. But that's another video. So we have a lot of layers to go through when it comes to the Great Awakening, and I don't think that if we have this public disclosure, I'm not sure that we're going into the spiritual stuff, really. I think that, for the ones that are ready for it, they would be able to do it anyway. But I think that the public disclosure will be mostly about what has been happening in our physical dimension and the justice being served, and the connecting the dots through the corruption that has been going on. And that is huge. When you wake up from this, it can be very traumatic. It really depends on how fast it goes for you to wake up. But I think that the ones that have been waking up in the last couple of years, and especially the ones that have been, working with the spiritual awakening as well, have been working with themselves for quite some time before this to be able to handle this kind of emotional expansion, because it's quite tough to take. And it's not just that you need to go through these stages and to realize all these layers. It's also to be able to comprehend it inside of you, to see what's been going on. It's very emotional, it's very tough. And adding on to that, still living in the life that you are, somewhat, coping with that your surroundings have no clue what you're talking about, or maybe you're not even, you don't even want to share because it's so huge that that they will not be able to handle it. So with this knowledge, you keep your mouth shut and you try to function in your life, and just keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that this public disclosure comes soon enough. And that's very tough. And I think that's why many of the people, the starseeds, lightworkers that's been going on with this and working with trying to wake people up, but also trying to just cope with it themselves, have needed to have quite a tough path before this to be able to cope with the emotional part of it, because it's not an easy thing to go through. And that's also, that's why we also have this huge compassion towards our fellow humans out there, because if they haven't started their waking up process, we know that it's going to be tough, and we know that we will be needed at some point when they start to question. So it really is a it's a huge challenge for us as well with this great awakening process. Whether it's going to be a public disclosure for, a period of time, or if it will be for a longer period of time / process, which it will be no matter, but it would be great if we could start to have conversations again. I'm just saying that would be great. And we could start focusing on creating the new. That would be great. was there something else I wanted to say regarding this? Oh, we're already 20 minutes in. Okay. So, yeah. This public disclosure has been on our, interest for the last couple of years, and we've had a lot of people trying to tell us when it's going to happen, and in my opinion, I watched a video yesterday from Megan Rose, and she has some other kind of intel sources, let's put it that way, and I have no idea whether she is legit or not. I resonate with some of the information that she's giving. And she said that the white hats working behind the scenes, connected to this 17th letter, they are currently on their plan B when it comes to this whole process. And it is going very well. They had their hopes that the plan A would work, and that's what I have been feeling, that we were supposed to have this public disclosure last year, but they ran into some obstacles and were not able to push the button, let's say that. And that we are currently in the plan B kind of scenario, and so we're really at the point where no one wants to say anything, because it's like, well, we tried so many times that it hasn't happened yet, so whatever. And I have no idea when this is going to happen, if they are deciding to do this. I hope that they're deciding to do the public disclosure kind of version. And many people are saying, oh, it's Easter, and all of that. And I don't know. Let's see. What do you think? Do you have any kind of, resonance with any of this? Do you have any? What kind of information have you been in contact with? Please do share. That would be very interesting to hear. If this happens, the public disclosure kind of event happens, it might be good to, have a little food at home, have some cash, have some maybe some batteries or some candles and a little water, because from the things that we have been informed about, there will be some kind of blackout necessary, where they will, turn off the old system, which is the internet, the payment system, the electricity, and all of that, to change it to the new systems, and to the quantum systems, because everything will be going in the same system, the quantum system. And from what I understand, the economic system is already in place, so that it's really just about switching over to the new system. But there's a lot of things that need to be in place before. If you can figure that out yourself, doing the entire world at once is probably a huge project management event. So that's a very big one. But just be a little prepared. It will be for a couple of days, and then maybe the public disclosure event will be for about 10 days or something like that. So a couple of weeks where you have, gas in your car, and some cash out if you know the internet is down and you can't use your credit cards or whatever. And it's no fear involved in that. Just be a bit prepared. If it happens, it happens, and if not, then we're fine anyway, because it might be good to have all of those things prepared anyway because of all the circus things taking place at this point. The cyber attacks and all of these weird stuff going on. So it's never bad to be a bit prepared, or we have some kind of, I don't know, in this area, snowstorm or whatever. Just, it's just common sense, really. Okay, so what is the Great Awakening? I hope that you have gained some more information about this. If you happen to be totally new at this kind of information, then just put it somewhere back in your head, and just embrace it when it comes to you. If it does not resonate at all with you at this time, it's totally fine. It will come to you at the right time. But since you're here and you've probably watched the whole video by this point, I would say that you're probably quite ready for this kind of information, and feel free to do some more research on it. We have some amazing people out there. I would say Tarot by Janine has a YouTube channel where you can go. We have Charlie Ward, which has who has a how do you say, a channel on BitChute. You can look him up there. We have Lori Ladd. We have Phil Good. He's awesome. Phil and Lori, they're just wonderful people. And we have Nicholas Venyamin, who is doing a great job with interviewing all these people that have all this knowledge about, the quantum perspectives. We have Greg Braden, who has been a author and educator and scientist for 40 years. If you're interested in the quantum perspective of all of this. I actually have a playlist on my channel that is called Quantum Consciousness. So if you're interested, just please check this on my channel, Soul, Art, and Awakening, and you can just work your way through. Okay, whew, I think that would be it for today. If you're interested, I have a lot of courses that I have developed, online courses, in my description. And for the international audience, I just launched a English version of the course Personal Leadership, which I call Take Your Power Back. So it's a lot about coming back to self-empowerment and becoming the leader of your life. And it's online, and you can start whenever you want, and you're more than welcome to check it out. I have a free version as well, so that you can just get a sense of what the course is about, and if there's something that you would like to pursue. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are excited about this subject. I surely am, and I will be talking more about it in the weeks to come. So thank you for today. I hope to see you soon again. Bye.